I hope you didn't just hear the bus honk while I did that because I'm not doing it again. What's going on, guys? My name is Ari, and I just wanted to jump in here and give you a little bit of an update from future me, which is today me, but it's future me when you compare it to past me, which is going to be the video that you see next. I don't know if you followed that. Yeah, so it's November 9th. I think I filmed the video that you'll see after this on November 6th, which I believe was my 9th therapy session recap video. And last week I was just really struggling. I really wasn't having a good time. I just felt really foggy and drained and worn out and not myself at all. I was watching tons of Netflix and YouTube, and I felt very just like unmotivated and lethargic. And I was honestly really concerned because I never watch YouTube or do any of that stuff. But my therapist told me that it's totally normal that when you're doing this really deep therapeutic inner work, that your mind and your body need time to recover, just as if you ran a marathon and you need rest and rehabilitation and fuel to feel yourself again. So my homework was just to be myself and sort of like observe my behaviors and not be critical, not be judgmental towards myself, but just give myself what it felt like my body and mind wanted and needed. And it's 3 days into the future, and I can report that that worked extraordinarily effectively. Being and just acting without judgment of myself is something that I really want to work on a lot more going forward in the future. But I'm feeling a lot better. I'm feeling a lot more whole and full and excited. I guess what I will just say that I've done this week is continue to just watch lots of YouTube and Netflix because that felt right. And it still feels right. Honestly, after work today, I'm probably going to want to go just sit down and watch Netflix. And that's okay. That's what I'm trying to tell myself. Did that, started looking into apartments. I am looking to move out probably in January, which is very scary for me, but I know it's a big part of my self-growth and my development journey, and it just needs to be done. Need to become a more independent human being and learn how to work through whatever it is that I'm trying to run from by not living alone. Anyway, I did that, and I also this morning wrote a letter to future me. Thank you, Kevin Exgond, for the idea. He linked me to a website. I guess I can just drop it in the description box, where you can type yourself out a letter and you choose when you want to receive it into the future. You type in your email, and then on that date, you get an email back with that letter. So I wrote a letter to future me for a year from today. And yeah, that's it. So without further ado, I hope you enjoy this. It's going to be another bit of a real talk and just recap and sort of just like vent to the camera, but lots of golden nuggets from my therapist and lots of valuable lessons that that they're helping me with and helping me learn. And yeah, that's it. I love you. I hope you have an awesome week, and we'll keep you posted. We're in this together. Bye. But don't leave. Seriously. I mean, bye to the next clip. Sick transition. What's going on, guys? It is Friday, November 6th. I don't know if this is going to be a standalone video or if this is going to make its way into another video that I'm going to record, but hello, either way. I wanted to film a little bit of a therapy update for you. So I just finished up session 9. I cannot believe that it's already been 2 months with my therapist. And the reason that I want to kind of film this reflection right now is because I'm having a different sort of week after this process. So like, as you guys know, I'm in therapy and I've been really excited about it and energized at the idea of fixing a lot of these patterns and addressing some of that childhood trauma. And it's been amazing, and I've been really happy and excited, and I'm just learning so much, and it's just been so empowering to figure out all this stuff about me and to put those connections together and address all of it. But this week was a little bit of a different week. This week, I have been really unmotivated and tired and kind of lazy. I never watch Netflix. I never watch TV. I do watch some YouTube, but it's like cooking shows and lighthearted stuff like that. And it's not something that consumes my days. But the last few days, up to a week, like I have been binging Netflix and I have been watching TV and I have just been kind of filling my time with all these mind-numbing activities. So I've been pretty discouraged, and I thought that that was a sign that things weren't going in a good direction. I didn't really know what it stood for, but I just finished up with my therapist, and she actually thinks that this was a great week for me. So I thought it was kind of cool, the duality or the paradox between how I was feeling this week about my behaviors versus what she, as a trained professional, is thinking about the kinds of ways that I'm feeling this week. And I wanted to kind of dive into that now and tell you what she told me. Inner work, while it's exciting and engaging and empowering, is also really intense and really difficult and really exhausting, and not unlike physical training, like when you have a really intense workout or you go run a lot of miles or you lift a lot of weight at the gym, and your body needs time to recover and adapt, and your muscles need time to grow and heal, and you need rest and adequate nutrition. Your mind works very similarly. So when we're doing this kind of deep inner work and addressing the kinds of patterns and traumas that, you know, in my case, I am in my own life, it's exhausting and it can take a lot out of you. So she said the mindless numbing and vegging is completely normal and I should just lean into it this week. So my homework this week is to just be still and accept that I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. That's what she keeps saying. And that this is all natural and part of the process, and to observe the way that I feel and what I'm doing, but not to apply judgment to the activities that I decide I need to this week, and that is totally normal. The other thing that we talked about is this gap between people who are doing the work and people who aren't doing the work. So the deeper that you get into your own therapy journey and into acknowledging things about yourself, and even if it's not that extreme or that intense, right? Like if you're just a person who likes to read a lot and likes to learn and likes to adapt and evolve, you're going to create a bigger gap between you and people who aren't evolving and aren't trying to do that work in their own lives. And that's kind of normal, because when you open up and you realize that there's all these things that you need to work through and you want to work through, and you're legitimately just in such a deep self-development stage of life and you're trying to get better, it's hard to relate to people who aren't trying to do the same things with their own time and their own lives. So that is totally normal as well. That was relieving for me, because I know that I've definitely pulled back a lot when it comes to socializing and just being socially energetic and wanting to do social things, or even just like have conversations with my internet buddies. By the way, I still love all of you. She said that was normal, so that was very reassuring as well. And she also said something which is so important, and I know that I've echoed it a lot and I've said it a lot and I believe it a lot, but sometimes I forget it, which is that there is no true enjoyment without fight and without struggle and without pain. That wanting good things in life means going through the things that aren't fun and aren't enjoyable and are kind of painful. If I want to be a healthier, happier version of myself, then it means that I need to acknowledge the things that don't feel good about myself. And I need to do that very reflective, very deep work and acknowledge things about myself. And it's hard to acknowledge heavy things about experiences that you've had or patterns that you don't like about yourself or the way that you live. And it's also hard not only to accept that, but to accept that without judgment, without bias, without any sort of negativity, just letting yourself be and recognizing things as they are without criticizing yourself or being hard on yourself, because we tend to punish ourselves for the bad things, even if they're not in our control. It's really messed up, but yeah, don't do that. And in attachment to that, we talked about how much of all of this is really just perception, and it's up to us how we want to perceive it. So she talked about the difference between the brain and the mind, and that the brain is the computer behind the way that we're operating. And it's sort of like, yeah, there's no better way to put it. It's just the computer that's dictating or guiding the ways that we behave. But the mind is your energy, and it's your soul, and it's your spirit, and your mind is 100% controllable. Your mind, your thoughts, the ways that you think, the ways that you feel, these things are all 100% controllable, unlike your mind, which is just like the computer that's doing all like the mathematical calculations and complicated stuff. So when we recognize that the mind is 100% ours to control, and that a lot of the things that we're experiencing in life are really just up to our perception of what's going on, it gives us a lot of that power back. It gives us a lot of that control and freedom to really dictate and design the experience that we want to have. So I want to give you a prime example. I've realized that I need to move out, and I'm scheduling to move out in January. Very excited, but also very nervous. And the reason that I'm nervous, and we talked about that a little bit today, is that noise and chaos have become sort of like my homeostasis and my normal based off the environment that I had growing up and how it was a lot of loud fighting and tension and stress. And these aren't good things, these are negative things, obviously, but that negative is my normal and I'm comfortable with my normal. Your normal could be good, my normal was bad, and I just simply am more comfortable there. So when I look at what life is like when I move out, it's quiet and it's calm and it's just me. And as empowering and happy and freeing that that's gonna be, it also means that it's gonna kind of feel empty and like there's gonna be a little bit of a void, because where all the space in my mind was taken up by stress and tension and angst and agita and all these bad things, I'm going to be moving into a new reality, into a new environment where none of that's there. So even if something's cancerous, you're removing a ton of mass that was there once, it's going to feel a little hollow. But because we know that the mind is controllable, and it's up to us how we think and view and experience the world, I can essentially take what will be like an empty warehouse that admittedly will feel a little abandoned and will feel a little echoey and hollow, and I can now choose to fill that space with whatever I want to fill it with. I can choose to fill it with joy. I can choose to fill it with happiness. I can choose to fill it with purpose and meaning and activities that bring me purpose, like this YouTube channel and like documenting my trauma journey, and with people who make me feel good and who aren't gonna bring tension or stress or noise into my house. So it might feel a little lonely or empty at first, which I definitely am not going to be a fan of. But that's okay, because it'll finally be up to me and I'll be able to have the freedom to make the choice of how I spend my time and what that reality looks like. And it's difficult to envision today, but I do really believe her when she says that it's going to be better and that we're going to be better once I move out. So just to sort of wrap things up for this week, I definitely feel a lot better getting off the phone with her now and hearing her say that she thinks this is a good week and that it's an important week, and she doesn't view this and doesn't perceive this in the same ways that I did, are really empowering actually, and they make me feel really optimistic about where we're going. The last concept that I want to introduce in today's video is this concept that we started talking about called metacognition, which is literally thinking about your thinking. Now that I'm doing all this inner work and I'm confronting the traumas and acknowledging the patterns, and I'm breaking them down and I'm integrating some and I'm forming new ones, and it's all this amazing stuff, I'm thinking about my thinking all the time. And that's deeply draining and that requires a lot of mental processing. But the reality is that metacognition is amazing and we should be doing this way earlier. She said that we should be learning how to do this in kindergarten. Like, you should be learning about what you're feeling and thinking about. And because we don't, because we live in a society where everyone sort of keeps things inside and no one wants to talk about it, you have the people who are sort of like in therapy and actively just like diving headfirst into their issues and the things that they're experiencing that they need to talk about. And then you've got people who don't talk about it really at all. I recognize that these are two extremes and some people are in the middle. But for the most part, we live in a society that encourages us to stay here, that encourages to stay with the mental health stigma and don't talk about things, and we're all afraid of judgment and we're all afraid to open up and we're all afraid to say that we're in therapy. But the people who are constantly thinking like that are going to be the ones who are the worst off, because they're going to just keep committing the same issues that have gotten them wherever they are in life. And when we care so much about how people think about us and how people view us, we're not really like living in our souls, we're living in the way that people experience us, and that's no way to live. And yeah, so just like think about your feelings. And I'm happy to document the fact that this week was harder, and that therapy is not just like sunshine and rainbows, and this is a process. So it would be a disservice to me and a disservice to you to not recognize that this week's hard. But the struggle is where the joy is. We just gotta break through it, because you can't run away. I'm done running. Thank you for being here. That's it for me, and I'll catch you guys next week.